From the hood champion boxing and sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Canelo has opted to fight Triple G and a trilogy fight supposed to take place on September 17th. Instead of fighting Bivol, and we all know why he's not going after Bivol, because Bivol is an impossible obstacle for him to overcome. I actually think in the next fight, now that Bivol knows what Canelo can and can't do, Bivol will go in there and hurt Canelo, knock him out, probably end that man's career. So Canelo, he's human, and I think he's realized he's human, and most of the boxing fans now accept the fact that he's human, and there's only so far you can go. Had Canelo fought another opponent and went in there and knocked him out, Canelo probably in this fight that he's taking right now on September 17th, Canelo would probably be fighting another stay busy opponent, and the fight after that would probably be Usyk, to be quite honest with you, because there'll still be more talks about Canelo like he's immortal. But now we realize that he's human and he can be hurt and he can lose and he can get knocked out, which he should thank Bivol for not clipping him. But as far as Canelo and Triple G, you have to really give Triple G a chance to win the fight. I personally think Triple G won the first two fights. A lot of people think that. Some people feel Canelo lost the first one and won the second one just because he's changed his style into what we see today, high guard and walk you down, what people are calling Mexican style. But I watched that second fight. I was a neutral party, but I watched it with like 15 hardcore Canelo fans. You know, like 4 of the guys are straight out of Mexico, you know what I'm saying? And we're watching it, we're having a good time, and, you know, they were rooting Canelo on. They were, but by round 4, they were saying, man, Canelo has to do something because he's behind. And by round 8, they were shouting at the TV, Spanish and everything. And I was just sitting there watching. Now, and I was saying that Canelo's losing. And by round 10, everybody in there, the entire party was like, the only way he can win is by knockout. And then they came out with that BS decision. So when you think about that, you got to say, okay, Golovkin gets an opportunity now to make things right. We know he's been away from the sport for a while. He recently came back. He looked a little more human to us, didn't he? He was getting hurt badly to the body. His combinations aren't flowing as smoothly and freely as they used to. But once Triple G got his rhythm and got out of those first 4 rounds, well, you know, we had, you know, classic Triple G, letting his hands go, throwing big shots, and he throws this shot where it's like the overhand right landing here on the top of the head, and that shot he throws all the time, and he lands it, and I think that shot is going to be extremely important in this fight with him and Canelo. Let me tell you something. You know, there are sometimes, it's like waking up in the morning. When I used to wake up in the morning to have to go to work, sometimes you hit that damn snooze button and you lay back down, it goes off again, you hit it again, you lay back down, and then it goes off again and you're like, damn. Or you hit it one too many times and it goes off, you don't hear it and you sleep through it and you wake up late. That's because there's no motivation. There's no excitement, nothing to want to get you up to go and do your job. And I think with Triple G, he may have been in that situation if Canelo would have defeated Bivol and gone towards Triple G. I think it would have been more like, man, I don't know. I'm gonna train. I'm gonna fight him because, you know, I kind of have to now. I've committed to this. I have an agreement, but I really don't want to. But because he just saw Canelo beat Bivol, right? Had that happen. But what he saw was, hold on a second, hold your horses. This is someone I can beat. And I'm sure when that alarm goes off in the morning for him to train, he doesn't hit snooze. I'm sure that man is up because your body is trained and conditioned. Like I get up every morning at the same time. I don't need an alarm. Been like that for 20-something years. Damn near almost 30 now. But for Bivol, for Triple G, you better believe Triple G is getting up. Triple G's out there working hard. He's like that fire that you need. Watching that fight with Bivol, Triple G watching that fight, Canelo and Bivol. If that didn't inspire this man and motivate him to get out here and work hard and train hard, I don't know what will. I will say this. I'm giving Triple G a chance. I'm not giving him a strong chance. And the reason I'm not giving him a strong chance is because he doesn't have Abel Sanchez. Triple G and Abel Sanchez should have never split up. It's stupid for them to have split up over money. It's dumb. It's like when Jacobs and Rozier split up over money. When you start making real money, you can't forget about the people who've been there for you and helping you. I'm not saying you give them all your money, but if you go from making $500,000 a fight to $2 million a fight, and you're giving your trainer, let's say 5%, 10%, whatever, let's say 10%. Now that you're making from 500,000 to 2 million, you want to go get a man 2.5%, or a percentage that's going to be much less or the same as what they were getting before? Come on, man. Get that man the 5 or 10% he was getting. Don't worry, you get more money, let his percentage stay the same. You don't have to increase his percentage, but keep it the same. And I just think that's foul that you saw Triple G and Abel Sanchez not being able to sort things out, and then Daniel Jacobs and Rozier having their disconnects. But something about Abel Sanchez is rubbed me the wrong way, though, man. He did a little too much talking for me, like he felt he really deserved. He deserves something, but he was like, hey, I'm the guy that helped get him to this point. And he's right. He's right. He's absolutely correct. But he was almost talking like there's a sense of entitlement, like I should get half of that. Like he didn't say that, but I just didn't like his energy when he was talking about the purse split. Be fair. I think across the board, if everyone's fair, has some integrity, and respects each other, and respects what they bring to the table, I don't think we have these pitfalls. I think it's avoided. But unfortunately, it wasn't. But for Triple G, I just think him going to this fight with Canelo, the reason he had so much success in those first two fights is I really think it's because of Abel Sanchez and the training and the sparring and just what Abel brought to the table. He understood Triple G. That style of fighting he loves fighters like that. And that's what he's cut his teeth on. He's known for having fighters in his camp from years back that he's trained. He's built into champions. And to be honest, since Triple G and him broke ways, Triple G doesn't look the same. He doesn't look the same. He doesn't look good at all, in my opinion. But I think he'll have enough to get in there with Canelo, who is now this, walk you down, pop shot you type fighter. Triple G will stand there, and that will give Canelo opportunities. But Triple G is busier than Canelo. And you say, okay, well, how do you say he's busier? Well, he was a couple years ago, okay? So when you think about punch stats, right? When you talk about the punch stats, so just look at the punch stats from the first fight. You can look and see, from the first round to the 12th round, most of those rounds, Triple G, he threw more and landed more in most of those rounds. So when you look at that, it's kind of hard to understand how they would give Canelo the fight. So you can just look here. I'll let you take a little time to glance at these percentages, okay? But then you come down here and just look at the numbers, man. The jabs, 5 of 13, out of 13 out of 25, and just look. It's for the most part Triple G outlands him in all areas. Now let's look at the power punches. So, Alvarez is 5 of 10, Triple G is 2 for 8. Then you got 5, 11, 8, 5 and 9, 9 and 13, 8 and 12, 4 and 7, 10 and 9, 11, 13. So you can read that yourself. So it's pretty close, but when you come and you just take a look at everything overall, it's, punches, 218 to 169 landed. That's a huge difference. Jabs, 108 of 55. And in power punches, Canelo landed 4 more. But at the end of the day, Golovkin should have won the first fight. And that's why I feel that way and a lot of other people feel that way. So that's the first fight, okay? And this is on BoxingScene.com if you guys want to know, so you can go look it up. But then the rematch, okay? This is where we just have to, we got to be honest with ourselves. Let's look at the rematch, okay? Same thing here. Just take a look at it. I'll let you take time and read the slide now since you should understand how to read it. But for the punches landed, you know, you're talking about 12 to 36, 14 to 47, 12 to 19, 12 to 16, 14 to 23, 14 to 22, 23 to 16, 23 to 21, 16 to 21, 17 to 18, 20 to 26. So when you look at that, right, total punches landed in the round, Golovkin's winning as far as punches landed. Then you look at jabs landed, okay? Alvarez, Golovkin, 9 to 29, 13 to 43, 5, 10, 5 and 7, 4, 14, 6, 10, 9, 10, 7, 11, 4, 11. So you see, it's the same thing. What Golovkin is landing more jabs and landing more punches than the power punches. Now, this is what may make the difference in some fights, because maybe this is what some judges like to see. You know, Alvarez 3 of 7, Golovkin 1 of 4, then 7, 9, 7, 9, 10, 9, 8, 12, 14, 16, 16, 10, 12, 10, 15, 13, 18, 15, 14, 12, 19. So the power punches could be what's catching the judges' eyes, and as a result, affecting their decision. But then when you come and look at the total punches landed, 202 to 234. Total jabs, 59 to 118. And this is the breakdown here with just the power punches, 143 to 116. So it could be the power punches that get the judges' attention. But at the end of the day, in that second fight, Canelo lost that fight to me. But this gives Triple G a good opportunity to come back and figure out what he wants to do. But if he wants to win, Triple G needs to throw more power punches. That could be what the judges were looking at in the first two fights. Canelo, his output has slowed. It has slowed. He's not out there throwing as many punches. Fighting a guy like Bivol, he wasn't able to get those shots off like he wanted because of what was coming back at him. But he was still game. He was still trying. But he knew he couldn't afford to try to get caught up in too many exchanges with Bivol, because the first thing is, every time Canelo threw a punch, Bivol caught the shot, then countered him, and not just with one or two shots, but combinations. And that was key to discouraging Canelo throwing his shots. And the other thing is, Bivol could crack. So Canelo knew not to sit there and be careless, because if Bivol would have decided to sit on his punches, get set and explode, I think he would have knocked Canelo out. But going into this fight now with Triple G, Canelo is going to have to learn from what happened with Bivol, and he's going to have to throw definitely a lot more power shots, because Triple G is going to be a sitting duck. Triple G is not going to run and box. He's going to sit right there and look for the knockout. And Triple G has been more susceptible to shots than ever in the recent years. And I just think it's due to his change in trainer and his inactivity. But at the same time, if Golovkin really wants a chance to win this, he's going to have to throw more power shots. Playing around, tapping with the jab, throwing the soft right hand. He's going to have to let more power shots go. He's got to throw those shots that's going to catch the judge's eye and make them say, you know what, he won that round, and he got to win decisively. But I just think going into this, I think Golovkin should be more motivated than ever. More than ever, because Canelo is looking vulnerable. Doesn't mean it's going to happen that way. But I do think if Triple G was still with Abel Sanchez, then Canelo would be in huge trouble. But I think the fight is more competitive than what we thought after watching Triple G fight in Japan. After that fight, although he won, he looked a little old. But Canelo didn't look that great in his fight with Bivol either. Could say it has a lot to do with the fighter in front of him. Some would say it has a lot to do with the fighter that was in front of Triple G as well in Japan. All I'm saying is, this third fight, I think Triple G is super motivated. Now, if Canelo beats Triple G, box check, then he goes on to whatever he's going to do next. Eddie Hearn planning a fight there in England. he'll probably go do that. But if not, then Canelo's back in the mix. You know, and unfortunately, that's just how it works when you have a superstar like Canelo. You know, one win, and he's back to being, you know, this immortal, omnipotent superstar boxer. If he loses again, he's a piece of crap, cherry picker. He never should have been where he was, blah, blah, blah. Mayweather was right. I don't think that's fair either. But we'll see what happens. But going forward, I am not sure how this fight's going to play out. No one is. I'm not even comfortable giving a prediction because I gave that damn prediction on Lemieux and David Benavidez. And, hey, my argument, I can defend my argument. But this is what happened. Benavidez took 5 months, and he tightened up his offense and defense. So that Benavidez we saw in there against Lemieux, that is not the same Benavidez that we've seen coming into fights with his hands down and getting caught with little BS shots. That Benavidez he no longer exists. And as a result, I don't see nobody beating him. But with this fight with Canelo and Golovkin, that's why I'm not even gonna. Before, I always like to pick fights, even though it may or may not happen. I just try to look at it, analyze, and say, well, this is what I think it happened. And this fight, this is a situation where Canelo is going to go to the lab. You better believe him and Eddie Reynoso are like, we can't afford to lose a second fight. I'm telling you, that's the conversation. And you know who else has their big nose in there? Fast Eddie. Fast Eddie Hearn is over there talking to him, and I'm sure creating a sense of urgency for him to train hard and defeat Golovkin. And if that fight's close, Golovkin loses, we all know that. But Canelo can't afford to lose. Golovkin's almost like, it doesn't matter if he loses. Nobody cares at this point when it comes to Golovkin. Who cares if he loses? But Golovkin is motivated to come in there and try to correct what he felt were two injustices as far as the scorecards. So when you got guys who are going back and they're hungry and they're making refinements, making the adjustments, after seeing what David Benavidez did, I can't come out here right now and say, I think Triple G wins, I think Canelo wins. But I will say, if that fight is close, I'll say this. If Triple G doesn't throw more power shots and that fight ends up close, Triple G loses because they can't afford to have the cash cow lose again. Bivol, they were trying to rob Bivol. We all know that. If you look at them stinking scorecards, the first 4 rounds, they didn't get that man 1 round. That is a crime. But he made it impossible for them to rob him. You know, that's why I get that find a way to win or find a way to lose. That's because of different experiences that I had, you know, throughout my career, where there are times where I was really the number one person as far as me and my peers, and this as far as competition wise, and I've seen people who really should be the number 1 pick when it comes to certain things, promotion, opportunities, recognition, and they wouldn't get those opportunities. But I said, you know what? If they really would give me or give these other people the number 3 or 4 spot, that really meant that we were the number 1 choice because it was impossible to get the 1 or 2. But we're gonna make it so hard on them that they gotta give us something. And that's what I did, and that's what I had friends who also developed that mentality, and that's what they did. You got to go above and beyond and find strength to keep pushing when it gets hard. And it wasn't easy, but it worked out. And when I look at a guy like Triple G, he's got to find the strength to push and make it impossible for those judges to rob him again, the same way Bivol made it impossible. I mean, you can say anything can happen when it comes to corruption, but Bivol made it impossible for them to rob him, even though they were trying to. He made it impossible. Can Triple G do the same thing? I guess we'll see. That being said, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. You guys keep safe. Thanks for hanging in there with me to the end. Shout out to all the veterans, and as always, I'm in the breeze.